I think the breaking news has to be what happened with the Padres overnight. Looks like we got a new pitcher.
Yeah, the Padres at this point in time aren't paying any attention to budget, aren't paying any attention to the media, aren't paying any attention to the fans' response over their inertia during the offseason. The Padres overnight signed Nick Pivetta, starting pitcher, frontline, hard-throwing starting pitcher, anchor of the Red Sox rotation last year, now comes to the Padres to be part of what I firmly believe is a really credible Big Four. Now, they signed him to a 4-year, $55 million contract. Nick Pivetta can opt out after the second year of the contract. The contract is backloaded, so it does not have a massive impact on this year's payroll, does not have a huge impact as it relates to long-range planning. A.J. Preller has no fear. He's only worried about this team this year. He'll worry about the credit card bill for all the transactions he's made at the end of this season. The Padres have now signed 5 free agents, plug-in guys, including Pivetta, for a total of $8.5 million as it relates to how you configure the payroll and the luxury tax. Now, some of this involves buyouts. Some of this involves, obviously, deferred money. Padres are going to worry about that when they get to that point in the road. All they cared about was getting ready for the start of the season. Who is Nick Pivetta? He was 6-12 last season on a very young Red Sox team, but had a decent 4.12 ERA. Got 57 career wins. He's grown as a pitcher. You look at the video of what Nick Pivetta throws right now as a 31-year-old pitcher, wicked sweeper. Might be the best one in the American League. Big strikeout pitcher. No history of arm problems. Started his career in Philly, went to Boston, has kind of grown into the job. I think this is a pretty good acquisition to put behind Yu Darvish, to put behind Dylan Cease, to pitch after Michael King. That's a Big Four that I happen to think is really, really good. The other big deal that happened overnight, the Red Sox, after letting Pivetta go, get Alex Bregman. This is a big bat. Now, he signs a 3-year contract of $120 million. Now, there's a little bit of risk here because he can opt out after the first year, can opt out after the second year, kind of like Pivetta can do with the Padres. Now, there is a price to be paid because the Padres, because they signed a guy that had a qualifying offer, have to give up a second-round draft pick next year and forfeit $500,000 of international signing money. Now, they have ownership of Pivetta for at least 2 years because he can opt out. Boston's Bregman deal allows him to leave after the first year, $40 million. Second year's $40 million. Third year's $40 million. If he leaves after the first year, that means Boston forfeits its second-round pick and the $500,000 in money to the Astros and would only get 1 year out of him. But Bregman's a gamer. Bregman's rock solid, and Bregman plays every game. And Bregman's going to move to second base so that Ralph Devers can stay at third base. And by the way, Bregman's career batting average at Fenway Park, John, 375 with bombs on his resume. Yeah. So I like the signing of Pivetta. A.J. Preller doesn't care what I said, doesn't care what the media says, doesn't care what the fans are saying. He was patient, he waited, and he got this guy at a somewhat unaffordable price. It is odd, though. Pivetta was given a qualifying offer of $21 million. He could have pitched one more year in Boston at Fenway, $21 million, gone on to the open market, could have bet on himself, and he didn't. And instead of signing the $21 million deal, he winds up coming to San Diego for just a shade over $11 million if he wanted to opt out. Economic, that doesn't jive with me, but Pivetta's got a proven track record. I like it. So you agree or disagree with me? Suddenly, the Padres look very different. They have a Big Four in the rotation and at least 8 deep in the bullpen. And then what's your take on Bregman, mailing address Fenway Park?
I'm surprised by all of this, aren't you? I mean, because we kept talking about how they had to shed payroll and they were going to subtract players and they were going to trade away Cease or King and, get a bunch of, young kids, farm hands. Now suddenly they're going out and spending money, and we thought they didn't want to go over the salary cap. So what happened? What's changed?
Well, they're over the luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to pay a luxury tax. If this roster stays intact, the entire season. But I think the feeling is, let's put ourselves in the pennant race and see if we can chase down the Dodgers, see if we can get to postseason play. We'll worry about the trade deadline on August 1st. If we have to move somebody and we're out of the race, then we'll move somebody probably. If we can go into October and play games, then we'll worry about the payroll tax October 1st, which will have a chunk of bite. They're gonna owe money with a payroll luxury collective tax after October 1st. They'll owe Major League Baseball. But I think their theory is we're pretty close. We're pretty good. We almost got there last year. Yes, we lost Musgrove. We replaced him with Pivetta, and everything else is intact. They just changed their thinking, but doesn't mean they can't change it back if this doesn't work out. If it's not a super season, August 1st trade deadline, they could move some parts who are going to walk as free agents.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled. I mean, that Preller went out. I mean, John Seidler decided to open up the wallet, which we were really worried about. Now, this Nick Pivetta kid, I mean, honestly, I know very little about him. I've heard his name. I've been watching some of the video on him, and he reminds me a lot of Michael King. Not because he kind of looks like Michael King, but just the way he pitches.
Power pitcher.
A power pitcher with a lot of movement. And I was thinking, wow, I could see this really playing. And I kind of wonder if Preller or Niebla had always sort of had their eye on this guy, waiting for the right time to go after him, because they let all the other big name guys go. And now Pivetta would probably be like a B-level free agent, but maybe he's going to turn into an A.
But he's at the top of the second tier. And I didn't think he was going to get many offers. And I don't think he got very many offers because he was given the qualifying offer, which mandated, therefore you got to give up draft picks. And
Right.
it mandates you're forfeiting $500,000 in your international pool to sign the guy. So that's what Preller has to give up.
Well, I think Preller kind of was hoarding money, hoping to get Sasaki. And when he didn't get him, he had all his international pool money. So why not use it?
Pivetta, his career numbers don't knock you out. He's 56-71 in the major leagues.
Yeah.
He's got 1,139 strikeouts in just over 1,000 innings. So boom,
That's good.
he's got really good stuff. He's given up 175 home runs. He gives up at least one home run per start. But then again, that was at Fenway Park. So I think it's a really good acquisition, proven track record. He's a veteran. He's 31. Not a history for being a power pitcher, not a history of arm problems. And I went back and looked at video of him overnight. His sweeper is wicked.
Yeah,
stuff.
it is. Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are. You buy what I say? They got a big four rotation right now that's pretty impressive.
I wouldn't quite say a big four. It's nothing like the top four with the Dodgers, because all four of them are number ones. But it's looking better. I'm encouraged. And then that number 5 spot, maybe it's Waldron and the knuckleball. Maybe it's Vasquez or Brito growing up. I'm feeling a little more optimistic. I can see a pathway to success.
Okay, you're a baseball fan. Feel free to dive into this conversation. You want to talk Padre baseball, what they just got with Nick Pivetta. If there's somebody that's got an opinion about Bregman, Fenway Park, Boston Red Sox, feel free to join us. We had a lot of baseball that we put on the table here.